Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Graham.
And my name is Lowell. Tonight is a special opportunity to hear the visions behind each hero's next great adventure, the futures, passions, and career paths that they've been exploring.
At Acton, the next great adventure is an important milestone. It's a moment when heroes step back and ask bigger questions about their lives. Who am I becoming? What work am I drawn to in the world? What problems do I want to help solve? Through weekly meetings, hours of deep research, several interviews with people in the industry, 100 hours of deliberate practice, reading industry-focused great books, and multiple sessions with a mentor in their field. Each hero has been exploring a path forward and crafting a vision of what their next steps will look like.
Being a hero at Acton means taking ownership of that journey and having the courage to stand up and share what truly matters to you. That's what today is all about.
What you'll hear tonight are not just speeches. They are glimpses into the people these heroes are becoming and the paths they are beginning to pursue.
Another important part of the NGA is that it doesn't end with the speech. Each hero will also be stating a request. These speeches will be shared with the broader Acton network, where heroes have the opportunity to receive fellowship funding to support the next steps of their journey. While that support may come from the wider Acton network, it can also begin right here.
After the presentations tonight, each hero will have a table in the lobby. There will be an opportunity to continue the conversation, ask questions, learn more about their ideas, and if you feel called to do so, support their next steps. That support might come through financial contributions, networking connections, or opportunities that may help move their vision forward.
And for Graham and I, this is especially meaningful because we have personal ties to all of the people presenting today. We've learned with them, grown with them, laughed with them, and seen firsthand the work that they put in to becoming the people they are right now.
So today, as each hero comes up to share their NGA and their future career path, we encourage you to really listen. Listen not just for what they want to do, but for who they are becoming.
Let's give our full attention, our encouragement, and our respect to every hero stepping up today.
Let's get started. For our first speaker, we are welcoming Kyle Deering. I've known Kyle since 7th grade, and he has become one of my closest friends since. From sharing a table together in our first year to creating a better Launchpad studio, Lowell, Kyle, and I have been in Sacramento since day one. So please give a big round of applause for Kyle James Deering.
I want you all to think about the most important lesson nobody ever taught you. I want you to really think about it. How to handle money, how to deal with failure, how to figure out who you actually are, how to survive out there. Where did you learn it? School? Or did you just have to figure it out the hard way, alone, later in life, after it already cost you something? For most of you, it's the second one. I was golfing with one of my good friends who was in public school. I was walking down the edge of the fairway on the 6th hole of the day after absolutely slicing my drive. But on the way to the ball, I asked him, "What are you going to do after high school?" He responded with, "I'll figure it out after college or something." And that was coming from a senior in high school. A lot of people, and some of you are probably in the crowd, didn't know where they were going in this point in their life. I asked him if his school ever talked about what he's going to do after school. He responded with no and asked me why I care so much, and actually started getting a little annoyed with me. I told him that it was kind of crazy how the school I'm going to had more emphasis on what to do after school rather than studying chemistry, which I'll probably most likely never use in the future. And his school was heavy on the fact that you need to focus on school right now and money and house and job later. I want you all to focus on the word later. Later, later, later. You can get a job later. You can learn about money later. You can learn real-world skills later. You can learn how to give speeches later. And you can learn to be yourself later. What I found out from Acton is why not now? Why not get a head start now so you don't have to deal with learning later? I realized that the heart in learning is failing and trying again, and a lot of people learn that after school. For the past almost 5 years at Acton, I have been learning to do the things that people my age will do later. You don't have to be 20 years old to learn how to invest. You don't have to be 27 to learn how to buy and finance a house. You don't have to be 18 to learn how to start building credit. What I've learned is you don't have to get to a certain age or get to a certain place to learn what life holds. Hello everyone, my name is Kyle Deering, and when I was in 6th grade, I would always see the people in the fast cars, the big companies, the big houses, and loads of money. I was always so interested in how they got there because I wanted that too. When I looked it up, it would always say because they founded a big business, they invested, they got super lucky, or they were just simply born with it. A couple of these answers got me excited, and I wanted to get started, get a head start. So I looked up what they wished they would have learned when they were younger, and a big chunk of them talked about how they wish they were taught about some of these things in school. Whenever I get a chance to talk to any adult about the school I go to, I like to brag a little bit because of how different and how much I know about the things that they learned when they were 30 years old. Acton has taught me to try, fail, try, fail, and then succeed. As I got into my 8th grade year, my mindset changed and it's still my mindset now. I feel like, yes, money is good to have and I want a lot of it, but I wanted something bigger, something that I could build, something that attracts others to make a community around me. I looked up what that dream is, and the first thing that caught my eye was entrepreneurship. I tried multiple times to build a business, from art for your lawn, all the way to the food business, and none of these stuck with me. And to be honest, I feel like they never really sparked my interest. I saw all the money that you can get from them, but what I've learned about myself is what actually drives me isn't the cash behind the idea. It's the connection. It's building a business that people talk about, a business that people associate me with, a business that carries my name, my identity, and my mark on the world. Fast forward to my senior year, I had a little bit less on my plate, so I can focus more on building something that I've always wanted to build. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been someone who likes being outside, building stuff, helping people out, and also making things look good. About 8 months ago, I was randomly doing some work for a family friend, which I was putting some mulch in their front yard. You guys probably experienced this too, but for the first time in a long time, 5 hours of work felt like 30 minutes. I went home to my parents that day. I told them what I was doing didn't even feel like work to me. It felt like I was just doing something fun, and that I was getting paid for it. With that, I took this action of this why not now statement, and I looked at a rapidly growing $177 billion industry, landscaping. I looked further into it, and I went back to my core. I loved being outside, I loved building things, I loved helping people, and making things look good. And I didn't need much to get started. 6 months ago, I launched my business, Level 15 Landscaping. And I want to be real with you guys. I didn't just start a little lawn mowing business. I had a goal to build something. In the fall and the winter, which is the slow season in landscaping, I completed over 60 jobs, gotten over 1,000 social media followers, and generated $11,000 in revenue. And every dollar went right back into the business. Better tools, better equipment, and a stronger foundation. And I didn't just stop there. I built out a subscription model. So instead of just picking up a new client for every job for landscaping, I got everything to do lawn care so that customers could pay me monthly for a consistent service. But this summer, this is when it gets serious for me. Landscaping season is here. My schedule opens up, and I have every intention of making Level 15 the name people know. My whole life, I have played competitive baseball. which is the main reason on why I have my baseball number in my business's name. This coming up fall, I have been recruited to Cosumnes River College as a starting pitcher. And I know what you're thinking. If entrepreneurship is your passion, why are you still playing? And I asked myself the same thing. But my dad made a decision when I was young that I didn't fully understand until recently. I asked him once, why baseball or why sports? He told me because sports teaches you things that nobody else can. Discipline, grit, how to show up when you're exhausted and still give everything you have. The 8, 12-hour work days I put into my business, the late nights, the early mornings, the refusal to quit when it gets hard. Over the years of reps and practices, baseball didn't just make me a better athlete, it made me someone who could actually build something not just for myself, but for a team. Anyone who has seen a college sports schedule knows balancing both my biggest passions at once is not going to be easy. Baseball will run 6 days a week for me. If I want to keep level 15 landscaping to keep growing during those months, I can't be the only one showing up for the jobs. So that means that I need to hire people. And I'm going to be upfront with you guys. Yes, I've generated revenue, but that money has a job, licensing, advertisement, tools, reinvesting back into the business. I'm already taking care of all of that on my own. Every dollar is accounted for. What I'll need help with is one thing in specific. Getting my first employee his own full lawn care equipment setup so that he can get out in the field and operate completely independently. That comes out to $1,400. $1,400 is what I'll be asking for today. And this isn't just a charity donation. This is an investment into a business that has proven it could grow. While making this speech, I realized something that I want to make very clear. This isn't just about making the business alive, about while I'm playing. Hiring my first employee is about learning how to lead, how to train someone, how to build a team. Because one day, I don't just want one employee, I want dozens. And the only way to get there is by starting now. I promise to you, with your support, Level 15 Landscaping will grow into something big. And I want you to all know this. This isn't just a business that I'm going to quit after a while. From my P&L sheets, I've gone and learned about the process of forming an LLC when I turn 18. I know how to pay employees through a W-2. I understand profit margins, how to reinvest that revenue, how to run paid ads, and how to build a subscription-based income model. This is bigger than a silly old lawn mowing business, and I'm just getting started. And I'll leave you with this. Everyone in this room has something that they love. Something where 5 hours feels like 30 minutes. You don't have to wait until later to chase it. The world doesn't reward the people who wait. It rewards the people who start. And I chose now. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Kyle Deering. Isn't it awesome how someone so young has such a drive to create something new? If any of you need any landscape work or yard care, Kyle is your guy.
Next up, Jaden Robert Morse. J-Bo is one of the funniest people I know, and also one of the most educated. I've known Jaden since my 8th grade year, and went from a cologne connoisseur to a muscular young man. So, everyone prop up your phones and get ready to film this amazing speech.
Who we become isn't decided by one moment. It's built through the habits we form, the challenges we overcome, and the passions that we chase. Every choice we make plays a role in who we become. For me, these choices have been about pushing myself and learning what I'm capable of. Hello, everybody. My name is Jaden Morse, and I'm going to save people, one life at a time. As a kid, I grew up always being outside and active, which I credit largely to my parents. I spent most of my time playing sports, running around, and hanging out with friends. That was a time in my life where I had never felt more free and happy, which many people can relate to. Most people believe they never felt happier because they were carefree, with less responsibility and nothing to stress about. As we grow older, we often reminisce about the good old days. I disagree with that saying. I wasn't happy because I had no responsibility. I was happy because of how I was spending my time. Always exercising, always outside. As we grow, we often gain more responsibilities and lose time. The thing most people trade off is their health. However, studies point to that being one of the worst things you could do for yourself. According to a study conducted by Harvard Health, regular exercise can decrease the risk of depression by roughly 25 to 26%, and is associated with a 43% reduction in poor mental health days per month. Unlike most people, as I grew up, things remained mostly the same. I stayed active and started going to the gym and weightlifting. However, I struggled in another area of my life. While my peers began to discover what they like to do, I lagged behind because I didn't see my passions as realistic careers. I began to feel childish and weaker and started to view my enjoyment of health and fitness as a childless pastime, almost entirely disregarding it. Throughout my freshman and sophomore years, I explored different passions, from art to construction, but nothing stuck. That all changed midway through my junior year. As I took on the next great adventure for the first time, I began a deep dive into my passions and opened my eyes to careers I hadn't originally considered. However, my biggest breakthrough didn't come until I went to the gym shortly after that. I had just finished an interview with a personal trainer, but didn't know how I felt about it. He talked about how this was an unrealistic path and how he didn't enjoy what he did, mentioning ungrateful clients and job uncertainty. This nearly killed my drive to pursue fitness. I drove slowly to the gym after the interview, forcing myself through each set and feeling like I was wasting my time. However, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and I'm eternally grateful for who I met that day. Midway through my set, a young teen came up to me and complimented my arms, asking how he could achieve the same thing. I ended up walking him through a simple routine that he could apply to his workouts, but that wasn't the important part. I had not only helped him, I had genuinely enjoyed doing it. Something important that I realized is that personal training isn't about me. It's about others. Currently, the biggest epidemic America is facing is obesity. People are stuck, overweight, and unhappy, not by choice, but by a lack of guidance. According to a study conducted by the University of Oxford, obesity can take years off your life, ranging from 3 all the way to 14. Knowing that I have the chance to add literal decades to people's lives is a responsibility that I would be honored to hold. Imagine living until you were 90, being able to stay active, pick up your grandkids, and be there throughout their lives. This is why fitness matters. Not because you'll look good or because people will see you as better, but because you'll be able to live with the people you love and not just watch from the sidelines. Armed with a newfound passion, I went into my junior year of NGA ready to achieve it. I started off by choosing a deliberate practice, investing countless hours into becoming an integrative health practitioner, where I became certified in diet and fat loss training. This certification distinguishes me from my colleagues by taking a holistic approach to health and wellness, including guiding people through red light therapy and cleansing them through fascial release and deep loading protocols. From there, I found a mentor deeply ingrained into the health and fitness community who recommended several books and helped me grow. On top of this, I completed multiple STAR and Stepping Stone interviews where I held high-level conversations with several successful personal trainers and dietitians, including professionals at Kaiser and the NutriShop. I finished out my junior year completely confident that this path was for me. And that feeling continued into this year. I came into the NGA ready to declare my path and become a personal trainer. But for me, my path doesn't end here. I'm currently working on getting my Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, a certification that distinguishes me from my colleagues and teaches me how to identify flaws in any given system in order to improve them. You might wonder how a certification in system analysis could help me become a better personal trainer. My answer to you is that I'm not getting the certification for right now. I'm thinking years down the road. Personal training is not the end goal for me. After gaining experience, I plan to expand, going freelance, becoming a private trainer, or even owning my own gym. I've also continued interviewing gym owners, freelance trainers, and dietitians. I built strong connections and even secured a personal training position directly after graduation. There is no ceiling to how far I can grow in this field. As I reflect, I can see more signs that this path was always for me. Growing up, I was skinny, and for a long time, I considered this the baseline for my health. I thought that I was healthy and strong up until about 8th grade. I had just entered a new school and quickly surrounded myself with friends. Every day, we would play basketball and run laps on the field. And soon, I began to realize a pattern. No matter how hard I pushed myself, they matched and excelled past me with ease. They performed feats of strength every day that I considered extremely impressive and the pinnacle of my current strength. That is what began to fuel my passion for fitness. And, as they say, you should surround yourself with people who have the same goals as you. So I did. One of my closest friends struggled with his weight for a long time, and about the same time that I did, he decided to change it. As I worked on gaining weight and muscle, he walked alongside me, losing weight as I gained it, and together we both pushed each other harder. As you can tell, this ended up working out very well for the both of us. For me, personal training is less about making money and more about spreading a message. You matter, and your health matters. As of 2025, about 42% of American adults are obese. Including those overweight, that number rises to about 70%. That's over 100 million obese adults. Among the youth, 21% are obese, which significantly increases the risk of premature death by almost 200%. By 2035, 47 adults are projected to be obese. By 2050, 2 out of every 3 individuals will be overweight or obese. However, it's not over yet. Studies show that by losing excess weight, these risks can drop significantly or even disappear entirely. That's why personal training matters. I am dedicated to becoming a personal trainer. To complete my journey, I need one final thing: a certification through NASM. This globally recognized certification will allow me to become a recognized and respected personal trainer. The CPT exclusive bundle, which includes certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach, costs $1,500. Of course, I would never ask for this without the promise of success. I will complete this course, put in the work, and secure the job. There will be no shortcuts. I will dedicate hours every day to completing the certification and becoming a standout candidate. On top of this, I'm also asking for the opportunity to train. I'm looking for people willing to work with me as clients, free of charge, so I can gain experience while helping others. I'm ready to take on the first 5 people to reach out to me, where I'll craft a 6-week plan for you, including meal prep and workouts. Looking back, I realized that this has always been my path. From improving myself to helping others with fitness and nutrition, I've always been driven to grow. Picture a world where everyone is healthy. People walk around fit, happy, and in shape. As I approach graduation, I realize I'm not just chasing a career, I'm choosing a purpose. I want to help people become stronger, more confident, and healthier than ever. If I could guide even one person to this better lifestyle, I will know that I have chosen correctly. Because at the end of the day, changing someone's body builds confidence, but changing someone's life transforms their future. And that's exactly the impact I plan to make. Thank you.
Wow, Jaden, that was amazing. And even after all that hardcore training and hammering away at his body, he still can't guard me. But let's give him one more big round of applause, everybody.
Lastly, we have William Cooper Goodnow. Although I don't attend the same campus, I've been able to get to know Will over the last couple of years. From a Middle Park music producer, to a boat guy with a buzz cut, to the person you see today. Will is a great friend that I, along with others, can speak to. Everyone give a round of applause to Will.
It's 10 p.m. The house is dark and quiet, but the office light is still on. There's a 12-year-old boy hunched over a laptop with a pair of oversized headphones clamped over his ears. On the screen is a grid of color-coded blocks, a program most people have never even seen. He's not doing homework, he's not gaming, he's building a beat, layer by layer, and won't go to bed until it sounds exactly how he wants it to. My name is Will. I don't just have hobbies, I have obsessions. I dove into my first digital audio workstation at around the age of 10. If you've never seen a professional music program interface before, think of it as this. Imagine sitting at the cockpit of an airplane for the very first time. Knobs, buttons, faders, and screens are layered over each other, and someone tells you to figure it out. That was me, a 10-year-old, completely lost but filled with motivation. Why did I want this so badly? I wanted to be seen. I was a quiet kid, and music felt like the best way I could express myself. I used to close my eyes and picture a massive stage, lights on me, and crowd going crazy. Not because I was arrogant, because I just desperately wanted to matter. When I listened to music, I wasn't just enjoying it, I was studying it. I was trying to understand what, in music, made people feel the emotion I was trying to convey. The hunger to be recognized, to matter, to be in the center of the room. That was my fuel. So, I put in thousands of hours. I studied EQ, compression, and how to balance the low end so the bass hits your chest. Slowly, the beats got better. But even as they improved, something started to feel off. I was putting the music out there, posting it, sharing it, waiting for something to happen. But every time, I would end up with a few plays, maybe a comment, and then silence. The hardest part wasn't about the silence from strangers. It was realizing that nobody was ever going to care about what I was building the way I did. What happened next wasn't gradual. It was a switch. I'd been putting everything into music, and I hit a wall. Not creatively, but emotionally. I remember sitting on my laptop one night, finishing a beat I'd spent countless hours on. I pressed play, expecting to feel something. Pride, excitement, anything. And I just sat there, by myself. That was the night I realized I was building things that only I could experience. So, that same obsessive energy needed somewhere else to go. I found it in the gym. I attacked fitness the same way I attacked music, completely, methodically, and obsessively. I learned the science, I studied recovery, and I tracked every single meal. I remember standing in the kitchen at 11 p.m. weighing out chicken breast because I was 40 grams short of my protein goal, and that was normal. For 2 years, the gym was my world, and slowly, my body started to reflect that. People started to notice. Here's the thing nobody tells you about building a great physique. The better you look, the quieter your life becomes. People notice. They say something once, then you're alone again with the mirror. My value was being determined by my reflection. And just like with music, I reached a moment of clarity. I didn't just want to be successful. I needed to matter. I needed to matter to someone other than myself. And it turns out that was not just a feeling. Studies consistently show that people who orient their lives around serving others report significantly higher levels of long-term fulfillment than people solely focused on themselves. I didn't have that data at the time, but I felt it. I remember sitting in a clearance committee meeting during NGA 1, and someone asking me what I was building all this discipline for. I couldn't form an answer, and I sat with that question for a while. Because the honest answer was uncomfortable. I've been building discipline for an audience, for a reflection, for a version of success that looked impressive from the outside, but felt empty on the inside. Every skill I developed, every hour I invested, all of it was pointed inward at me. I started to wonder what it would look like to flip that. To take everything I built and point it at someone else. Looking back, I can see what I was becoming. Everything I did was solo. Headphones in, door closed. Just me and whatever I was building. And I started to notice that pattern. In most areas of life, working alone is completely fine. But I was beginning to realize that kind of isolation has a ceiling. Not long after, I was at the gym, the same gym I've been going to for the past 2 years. I knew the equipment and layout better than I even know my backyard. During that workout, I was talking to my friend Max. I told him about my situation, having all this drive but nowhere to really put it. He looked at me and said, "Have you considered becoming a firefighter?" In that moment, I kind of brushed it off, and I think I may have even laughed. The idea was so far outside my little world of entrepreneurship and self-interest I built. As I was driving home, I thought over the idea more and more. Then, I saw the dots starting to connect. What if every single phase of my life wasn't just a bunch of restarts, but instead a series of lessons? What if the absolutely draining leg days and strict eating weren't just about the look of my physique, but instead about building the mental toughness to carry someone out of a burning building? I started to gain excitement. The same excitement I felt when I thought I was going to pursue music production at 10 years old. Something clicked. It was the answer to the question I didn't know how to ask. Let me paint a picture for you. Well, you're already looking at it, but I want you to look at it differently. Not as someone watching, but as someone walking in. Because the first thing you notice isn't the flames. It's the sound, a low, unpredictable crackling that shifts and moves like it's alive. Then, the heat hits you before you even enter the building. Your gear weighs 80 pounds. Your mask is feeding you oxygen. Visibility drops to zero the moment you step inside. And somewhere in that building is a person who needs you to be the calmest, most prepared, and most focused person they have ever encountered. You can only grow so much before the growth stops meaning anything. The shift wasn't about just finding a new path. It was about deciding what kind of person I wanted to become. Someone who shows up for themselves, or someone who shows up for others. Firefighting was the first answer that felt true. Because for the first time, what I was chasing wasn't just about me. It took everything I built, the precision, the discipline, and obsession, and pointed it at someone else. I've talked with many firefighters and asked every question I can think of, and I've done a ride-along. And during that ride-along, there was one moment that stuck with me more than any conversation I had. It was a Friday morning, and we had just got to the training grounds. They geared me up and put me through the basics, running up and down stairs, carrying a hose, dragging a dummy back and forth, and crawling through tight, dark spaces where you can't even see your own hand in front of your face. I was gassed. And after that, I got to hang out at the engine and catch my breath. That's when I started watching. Firefighters from completely different stations were just showing up. Some for helping with training, others helping load gear into trucks that weren't even theirs. Nobody coordinated it, nobody assigned it. They just saw something that needed doing and they did it. I'd never seen that in a music studio, nor in a gym. Every moment I'd ever been in was built around individual performance. Your output, your progress, your results. What I saw while sitting on that engine was something completely different. People who didn't need to be in the same crew to act like it. That's the environment I want to grow in. Those are the people I want to be around. I've walked away from things before, but those only needed me to show up for myself. This needs me to show up for someone who has no one else. That's not a phase, that's a purpose. The road to Fire Academy isn't easy. I'll need to dive into the world of EMT, learning the biology of the human body, not just to build muscle, but to keep it alive. I'll need to pass the CPAP, a physical test that makes your standard gym workout look like a warm-up. This won't just be about how I look. It'll be about how long I can perform under full gear. I know how to be obsessed with something, and for the first time, that obsession is pointing at something that matters beyond myself. Everything I've built until now, I built alone. This next chapter is the first thing I cannot do by myself. I haven't been waiting around. I've done everything I can to prepare. From taking FEMA courses to attending a ride-along, I'm fully committed. And the first step is for me to take on the Sierra College EMT program. This isn't just a class. It's a fast-paced course that serves as the foundation for nearly 90% of what a firefighter does. Everyone I've interviewed says the same thing. EMT school is where the idea of becoming a firefighter meets the reality of it. That's why I'm asking for your partnership. Between tuition, textbooks, uniforms, and state testing fees, the $1,100 cost is something I cannot clear on my own. I'm seeking funding to help cover the cost of EMT school. And regardless of where this road leads, an EMT knows how to keep someone alive. That skill belongs everywhere. I promise you this. I will not waste a single cent or second. I promise to take the same intensity I used to make a beat and the discipline I used to hit new PRs in the gym and put it all into my studies. You watched me move through a lot of phases. Music, fitness, entrepreneurship, trying on identities like they were clothes, searching for the one that finally fit. I understand if that makes it hard to know which version of me to believe in. Believe in this one. Because the next time you see me, I won't just be checking my reflection or listening for applause. I'll be walking toward what everyone else is running from. Not for the stage, not for the image, for the person in front of me who needs help. A man with a purpose greater than himself. This is who I'm becoming. As Albert Einstein once said, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will. If I ever need to be pulled out of a burning building, I'll be sure to call you. One more big round of applause for Will, everybody. I would now like to invite up everybody who gave their speech today for one last round of applause.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to our 2026 NGA speeches. As we mentioned before, each hero's booths are in the lobby, and they are ready to answer any questions you may have about their next great adventure. Thank you, everyone.
That was amazing. Yes. Addie used to do.
I was waiting that you should see. It's been so long.
Mommy, what are these? What are those? What's that?
That's a wrap. How are you? Don't say that.
Very 65 minutes away too.